Hello and welcome back to Creepy Coochie Crafty. Welcome back to yet another video with me, Heather. Hi guys, how are you doing this week? So yeah, this week I'm going to be splitting this video into two parts. I'm going to get in with some Sashiko later, if I can speak, of course. But for the first little sort of half an hour, 20 minutes, I'm just going to quickly talk about the Creative Craft Show, because that was this week. Now there's still 2 days of it to go, so I'm posting this on the Friday and I'm filming this on the Friday. I went yesterday, which is the Thursday, and I'm sure there's lots of people there today, and there's going to be a lot more people there tomorrow and Sunday. So if you guys are going to or have gone to the Creative Craft Show, leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought of it. What did you enjoy the most? What kind of things did you find? What surprises were there? There were quite a few surprises, to be honest with you. Absolutely fascinating show, and every year I go to the spring version of it. I have been to the Christmas one, but I find that one a bit too crowded and a little bit less focused on the crafts and more on the Christmassiness of it, which is, you know, it's absolutely fine if that's what you like, but it's not my bag really. However, I'm going to start with this little piece of fabric here, and I've got this in the background because it's slightly better than my grey blanket underneath. And this was one of the things I bought from one of my favourite stores, one of the ones that I always go to, and that is Heather's Fabrics and Home Crafts. And I believe it also mentions Manisha's fabrics as well. But every year I go and find these guys, and they've always got lovely gothic-y or steampunk fabrics, and yeah, worth having a look. Now this year I was very sort of firm with myself. I said I wasn't going to spend loads and loads and loads of money on fabrics and things, and this is the only piece of fabric I've bought. Yay! But yeah, I think it was worth it. It's lovely. It's got sort of chain stitch patterns on it, and it's got these lovely floral designs on it. You can see them in all different colours there, and some lovely dark purples. And it's quite a large amount, and this was bought for £3.50 per metre, and it's 2.25 metres, so you can work out how much that was. I can't remember. I have to look on my receipt, but it's lovely and thick, and it is beautiful, and I don't quite have an idea of what I want to make with it, but I'm thinking of making something with it. We'll decide that when we get to it, same as usual. But I'm going to use this as the backdrop for my video today, so that you don't have to just look at a grey blanket. So yeah, for the moment that's what's going to be there. I'm going to go through some of the things I did see and what I bought there, but first of all I'll do my usual thing of a little sort of selection of clips from the things that I saw whilst I was there, and let me know what you think of that. So I'll put that little selection of clips around about now. Okay, so what did you think of that? I saw quite a few designers and creative folk there. People who are graduates, people who are sort of starting off in their artistry, their quilt making, their fabric manipulation careers. So many talented people out there, so many amazing fresh new ideas, and I went to see quite a few of these graduates, and they had their own sort of smaller stalls and things. Amazing work, so many of them, but unfortunately there were a lot of people there. I mean, it's same as always, it's very busy, and it gets very busy very fast. I did try to take some photographs of what people had on display and what they were showing, but unfortunately other people also had their own things to do, so I didn't want to sort of take photographs of people and put them in. The one lady that I did manage to get some photographs of was Elizabeth Connolly, and she did fabric sort of decorations, almost like tie-dye, but not with tie-dye, not with dyes. So she did leaf stamping, which I've seen a few people do, but she also did rust dyeing, so putting white fabric around something made of steel or something made of iron, putting on like salt water and creating rust patterns that are then fixed into the fabric. Absolutely fascinating, and something that I think I would like to have a go at in the future. I also had a look at some of Anne Brooke Hannamade. She sold quite a few like different kinds of embroidery thread, and I managed to get some mercerized cotton thread there, which I'm going to be using for some weaving, some band weaving later in the year, but I'll get to that when I get to that, and I'll show you that the bits I got from her as well. But she had some amazing bits of embroidery and designs up there as well. But also I had a look at the Nuestro tapestry. So I mean, last year they had the red dress, which was a very famous piece, but this year their sort of very big sort of surprise exhibition was the Nuestro tapestry, which is absolutely gorgeous. Again, you probably saw it in the video that I just posted, but yeah, definitely worth going and having a look. And if you do want to go and have a look, I think that the Creative Craft Show website still has some tickets for tomorrow, so it's Saturday and Sunday. See if you can go to it. It is worth going, but it is so busy. But yeah, so I saw sort of like embroidery awards and things like that from people like the Royal Needlework Society, and also sort of quilting awards and things. So I saw it from these guys who are doing sort of modern quilting, and some ideas for them to to have a go at. And there was also sort of well, there was a lot there, so I mean, make sure that you get to go to it yourself and have a look on the website, so you see what kind of surprising things were there. But as for now, I'm going to start going through my little bit stash of what I collected, and let me know what you think of it down in the comments. So I bought myself a VIP ticket this time, because I did like making use of the seating area, and also I got a free cup of coffee and a free cake, so that's not too bad. There's also like an area that you can drop your bags and you don't have to pay for it, whereas if you do it outside the show area, you do have to pay for it, which is quite something very much worth checking out. But we all got these free gifts, which is always from, well, last year it was from Vliesleen, VLI, I don't know how you pronounce that, but they do sort of various fabricy things. It comes with a catalogue and a ruler, which is all very well and good, but it also came with this, which I think is quite interesting. This is called Iron On, and basically it's a cloth for protecting your fabric when you're doing like fusible interlinings and things, so it stops it from going sort of shiny. So it's a nice little protective sheet for when you're doing ironing. That was a nice thing to get for my freebie today. I'm going to put that over there. But then I started having a quick wander. Now like I said, I tried my best not to go into every store. I could have gone in and bought tons and tons and tons and tons of things, which you've seen me do this before, and I do very much try to avoid doing it. So I did look at some of the fabrics and things, but there were some things that I really wanted to find on this occasion, and I've made myself a little list of things that I needed to get. One was the mercerized cotton, which I'll show you in a second. But the one thing I wanted to find at the start was these guys. So these are, oops, that's not the thing I need to have. It's this thing here. So the Marbling for Fun company, and they sell these little kits that come with, and they also sell a little book here to show how you're using rakes and things to make the patterns. And these come with, excuse me, I'll just get this off here before we have. There we go. Mess, and it's got the instructions in there, which is useful. And it comes with all these dies, including an iridescent die, and it's got the different bits and pieces that you use to turn the water into something that's good for marbling. And he gave me a quick demo, and I'll be going through this in a few months in a video with you guys. But he did a quick demo and showed the kind of fabrics that they made, and you can see how well they turned out. This is just like a cotton fabric that he had as a demonstration. When he took it off, it was kind of slimy, but it sort of set itself now, and this was set within seconds of him finishing. So it's nice and fixed. I might do an iron on there to do like a permanent fix on there, but I'm not too worried because these were his demonstration pieces. But I'm looking forward to having a go at that. Something I've wanted to have a go at for a long time. We shall see. I'll probably do that alongside some tie-dye or some washibori. I don't know. I also went to one of my favourite stores, which is Juco Designs, and they had this is how to stick weave using these little bits and pieces here. So they've got some instructions in here, and you can also go and look on the video. And with that, they've got a nice ball of wool here. This is lovely and chunky, and it is almost definitely, let's have a look. Ooh, where is it? Premium acrylic. So it's not natural wool, but you know, it's going to be nice to work with. I suppose natural wool would be very, very expensive to put it out. I also went to the Quilted Bear, and I bought myself a new needle holder. So I've got the one that I'm using for my gold work, and I've got this one that I'm probably going to use for the white work project. I do like it. It's a nice little bee there, and I've got myself a new leather thimble because mine is starting to look a little bit work worn. Then I took part in a couple of their free the free sort of crafting sessions. I'll post a picture up here of the 3 items that I made for the first session. This is like a little beading session. They made like beaded bookmarks and things. This is the one that I made with my little scissors there. It was quite funny though, because it went in there, and she's like, the teacher was like, okay, so have you guys done any beading before? And I'm like, yeah, I've done a lot of beading. I have done a lot of beading. And she's like, okay, well, I won't bother teaching you, but feel free to go and help yourself. So I made 2 items, which was this one and the first keyring that you saw on there. And then she's like, well, just keep going. I'm like, but I will take all your beads. She's like, no, just keep going. So I made a couple more things, and yeah, wound up making an awful lot of beaded items. That's quite pretty, and it's from this lady here, Jenny Turner Maskell, and go and have a look at her website. She also does craft cruises, so they're not cheap, but they are, if you can afford them, they are quite fun. Some of the other people who were sitting next to me in the craft session, who I did actually give one of my button cards to, so hi if you're there. Whilst I was sitting there, they were talking about the fact that they're going on one of the craft cruises. Not cheap, but it should be a lot of fun. But also, as well as the beading, I'll put that over there, they made they had another craft making these, and this is just a little pin cushion. You can see the cushion there on the top and the drawer inside, and this came as a kit, of which I bought some more to do at home. So I might do those with Squinks' help, because I think they'd like to make some for their friends. And there's some instructions there. This has come from Silvar Designs, which I believe has like a QVC type sales, but it's always worth having a look. But I found them really easy to make, and these are coloured. You can see this lovely sheen you've got on here. These were coloured with this stuff here. This is called Buffet, where you put it on with a sponge, and then with a tissue or something, you just rub it and buff it up until it becomes nice and shiny, and it's worked really well. And I'm looking forward to having a go at that with Squinks, because I think they would love to have that as a gift for some of their friends. Also, after I visited their craft session, I've got myself some fabric and some bookbinding glue. Again, this is Pinflair, which is sort of like a sister company to Silvar. And this stuff, I've used this in a couple of their craft sessions, really, really good. It's for good for making like cards and things. It's like PVA glue, but stronger, and I found it extremely good. I'm going to see how well I can do using that in future projects as well. And I just got myself like a small amount of fabric from them. That's the only other piece of fabric I got, honest gov. But yeah, so Daisy, making a mess over here. Then well, as I said, I got there nice and early, and then after I went to the marbling place, I just sort of went to one other place that I was in a hurry to get to, and that's these guys. Now, I've written their name on the bag, Lucas Ruth Leather Goods, and this was one of their £5 sort of goodie bags, like scrap bags, and these are all filled with patterns, pieces of leather. They said this was glove leather. These sort of end cuts and things. You can see they got labels on there for where they were used, and these are all very, very soft, very, very workable types of leather that's used for making fancy gloves. And you can see it is all tatty and torn up. There are some nice big pieces in there that I could use for projects later in the year. Some of it's harder, some of it's softer, but it's all in there. It all tells you what kind of fabric it is, what kind of leather it is. And I think I'm going to have some fun using that later in the year to make some things. What things, I don't yet know, but some things. So if you've got any suggestions how I should use my leather, let me know down in the comments. I didn't want to go and buy like a load of fresh leather from a retailer. I wanted to just try and get some scraps because I wanted to try things out. But yeah, it's a nice big bag, you can see there. Nice big bag for £5, and I think I was the first customer of the day to get to them, so I was trying to get there early. And yeah, they had a lot of stuff there. I bought a leather notebook kit from them before, but I never got around to using it. But yeah, I think I want to do some more that kind of thing in the future. And then I have these guys. So we've got the Annenbrook company that I was talking about, and she does sort of embroidery, haberdashery, all kinds of things, and they came with this company called For the Love of Stitch. So it's Anne Brooke Hannemade, and they sell some very nice cotton, mercerized cotton, and this is the stuff that I'm going to have a go at spinning with. You can see how shiny it is, so it's more shiny than regular cotton would be. And I bought myself a few different colours, excuse the noise, to have a go at making something with. So I'm going to have a go at weaving with those later in the year, have a go at making myself a band, so like webbing bands, so when I do my Sashiko handbag, I'm hoping to make a strap using the mercerized cotton. So we'll see how we go with that one. And then there was three other folks I went to visit. One was Italian Buttons, where they have these lovely big buttons. Again, I'm trying to thin my stocks, but if you have something slightly unusual like these toggles that are sort of all curly whirly, I think they're made of leather or possibly, I'm not sure what those are made of. They're lovely, and I think I'm going to have a fun making with those. And then finally, the last two places I visited were a couple of bead companies. Now, this company you've seen me use before, Spellbound Beads. I was so tempted to go and buy some more of their kits and things, but instead I just got myself a load of little beads like these ones and hangings, and I'm sure that Squinks is going to help themselves to them at some point. I bought two of each. Got a little panda hiding in there, and I also got some pigs and some hedgehogs and some cats and some glowy cats as well. But as well, I went to, let's get their card out first. Come out, you. Nope, that's the wrong thing again. I went to Southampton Bead Shop, and they have a lot of really nice things to have a look at there. One of the things I was hoping to find was a bead weaving loom, but unfortunately nobody had bead weaving looms, so I popped myself a few little beads, and I'm going to see if I can get some a bead weaving loom for the project later in the year. But they have these nice leaf shaped sequins which I thought could be fascinating to use. They had some cup sequins that were sort of iridescent. Had these flower sequins that I've never seen that shape before. They're quite attractive as well. And some sort of beaded chain there as well. And also some copper wire that's been coated, and I thought that could be fun to try. So maybe I'll be doing some beading, and I definitely want to do some bead weaving later in the year. Just got to find myself a bead weaving loom. So that's all in there, and I'm going to put that all away. And that is the sum total of all the things that I bought. Like I say, I did try to keep myself back, hold myself back a little bit, because I didn't want to spend mega amounts of money, because I don't have mega amounts of money to spend. But I'm really pleased with how it turned out. I think having a list of items for like a shopping list actually really did help me, and it was very tempting. So I mean, there's places like Roy's Fabrics, who everybody who goes to like events like this in the UK knows that Roy's Fabrics is going to have a big store. There's also things like the World of Wool. There's all sorts of other bits and pieces in there that are very tempting. But if you do go to the places, I've found that if you get there like early in the morning before everybody comes in, it's, you know, you can get in there and get to, you know, to your desired locations fairly quickly. And then if you wait until about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it gets very quiet again. So it is worth going, but I would say very much plan your visit. Don't go in and just mooch, because it is so tempting to just go, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that, this, that, blah, 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 because it does get very expensive. Yeah, I am trying to be on more of a buy nothing jag, so trying not to spend money on things that I don't actually have plans for. So most of these items, I have something in mind for them either later in this year or at the start of next year. So, yep. Anyway, so like I say, let me know if you've been to the craft show or to the Creative Craft Show, or if you're going this weekend, let me know down in the comments. And yeah, what was your favourite thing that you saw there? I thought all of the creators, the people doing their own little stalls with their creations, their art, were just breathtaking, absolutely amazing, and worth it just for that, I think. But yeah, there's a lot of bits and pieces there. There's also, I mean, it's worth going because quite a lot of the stalls have items on there that they're trying out with the crowd. So, for example, the pin flare folks, the guys who did this, and this. One of the reasons why they do the sessions is because they're trying out these kits. So for this kit with the wooden pieces, it actually wasn't available to buy on the stall, and it wasn't available to buy online. But because they've got the craft show and they're doing these like making sessions with the VIPs, they're trying out these kits, and if they work and if they sell, then they know that they can go on further, but also they get feedback. So some of the people are saying that, oh, these side bits, they're a bit confusing because all these bits and pieces are aligned in a certain way so that you can't make a mistake. Useful for some people, confusing for other people, but it's definitely worth having a look, and I found it, you know, quite fun to have a go at. But like I say, definitely worth having a go at. One of the funniest things was at the start of the afternoon session when we were making these, the guy who ran it, Mark, he was saying that he sees the same people in the VIP section doing these classes every year, and I've seen him a couple of times, obviously, and he's getting to know people. He's getting to know people by name. He's getting to know them by sight, and he was saying at the very start of it, oh, so you know, you guys are all the VIPs. Yeah, once you go VIP, you never go back, do you? And I'm like, actually, that's true. Not that the Creative Craft Show needs to have the VIP section to be good. It is good anyway. But for me personally, I think the VIP classes and things are worth that little bit of extra, just so that you can do these free sessions, and also you've got a nice quiet area to sit. Well, I say quiet, it's in the middle of everything, so it's never going to be quiet, but it's still a little bit quieter than everywhere else. Yeah, I do recommend it. I don't think I'm going to do VIP every year because, again, I can't afford it. But if I can, I definitely would do that, because apart from anything else, I do enjoy these crafting sessions, not just for the sake of making the things, but also because you get a chance to meet other crafters, which you don't really do in other sort of sessions. But yeah, definitely worth having a look. There are sort of non-VIP crafting sessions as well, so you can book those online and things. I didn't get around to doing that this year because I got behind with everything, and because I was only there for the one day this time rather than 2 days, I figured I wanted to focus on those few little bits and pieces that I actually wanted to do rather than spreading myself too thin. Anyway, I'm going to put all these bits and pieces away and then come back and show you what I'm going to do with my Sashiko projects next. So I'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye. Okay, so I'm back, and yep, I'm continuing with my little Sashiko project here. With this one, I'm making a little needle case. Now, over here, I've got my sort of borrow style pin cushion, which I do use, but just maybe not as often as I want to. This is the one that wound up, oops daisy, this is the one that wound up on display at the Wolverhampton Gallery last year, so that's, you know, kind of pleasing. And yeah, I'm going to be continuing with this. Now, for this one, what I've done here is I've laid across here to the halfway point of the one underneath, so that when I open it up, it's going to be sort of like that. But I'm going to be doing that all the way around, and I've got to be careful here because I don't want to wind up doing the wrong thing in the wrong place. So once I get to the end of this little bit here, I will show you what I mean. I've got my palm thimble there, but I'm not going to be using my palm thimble because I'm not using a Sashiko needle this time. I'm using just a regular sewing needle, and I'm just sewing along this line here. I might put on my leather thimble in a minute just to save my fingers a little bit. Yeah, so it's this part is relatively sort of simple, ordinary everyday stitching, but I'm going to be sort of doing a sort of I'm going to be doing a little bit of a back stitch, just so that this is a bit more secure. So for every stitch I take, I'm going back half a stitch, just to make sure there's an extra little bit of security there. I'm definitely going to put my thimble on because my finger is already complaining. I'm still using my very ancient thimble here. My ancient thimble is getting more and more ancient every time I use it. So it's yeah, just protecting my finger a little tiny bit. Very useful, these leather thimbles. You can make them yourself, and I was thinking of maybe using some of the scraps from the scrap bag that I've got to make a leather thimble, but I think the glove leather might be a bit too thin. I suppose I could double up the layers or something, but we'll see. Maybe I'll use the leather thimble to make a palm thimble, because that might be useful actually. But I've got some like bottle caps and button shanks to use to do that, but I'll see how I feel when I get to it. So, as well as the Creative Craft Show, what else have I got going on this week? mostly recovering from the Creative Craft Show. It's going to be Mothering Sunday on Sunday, so I'm going to try and throw my weight around a little bit and see if I can get myself some extra time sitting on the sofa to do some stitching. I don't mean that really. It's Mothering Sunday here in the UK. I know it's just called Mother's Day in other parts of the world, but here it's got the original term, Mothering Sunday. Most people do just call it Mother's Day though. But the funny thing is, I found out a few years ago, as you guys might well have also found out, Mothering Sunday is called Mothering Sunday not because it's time to go and have time with your family and, you know, all this type of things. It's the time of year, the day that you're expected to go back to your mother church. So if you're working as a domestic servant in somebody else's houses at the other end of the country, you're expected to go home on Mothering Sunday, and sort of, you know, celebrate the places that you come from. And then, you know, I suppose as an addendum to that, that was a day that you got to have time with your family again. So, you know, it all sort of bleeds into one another at the end of the day, doesn't it? But you know, it's a good day to have a time with your family, for sure, absolutely. But I'm aware that not every home, every person has as happy mothering, you know, family experiences in that way. It's quite interesting because there's a lot of like companies now, they send out sort of marketing emails, but they always say to people, do you want to opt out of Mother's Day like marketing? And I guess that's for people who've got, you know, unhappy experiences of either, you know, their mother's passing away or whatever, or of people who may not have become mothers when they wanted to be. It's sad, but it's good that people are sensitive to that kind of difference, isn't it? I'm getting a bit morose there, isn't it? I'll try not to talk about that too much. But I do find it interesting that, you know, they've taken on these traditional terms from the Christian church, as was, and turned it into more of a social thing. It's interesting. The meaning's there, but, you know, the meaning changes as society changes, for sure. Absolutely fascinating. Anyway, what else have we got on? Well, I've got a lot of crafty projects sort of happening behind the scenes as well. Last week, we had to go to our sort of storage unit, and we're trying to clear it out now because we want to try and make use of the things that are in there, and also we want to, you know, make use of the space that we've got at home to store things in. But found lots and lots of pieces of fabric and other bits and pieces that I'd stashed away in there, and I want to start using more of the fabrics. There were some fabrics which were, for certain reasons, they were associated with films that, or with persons that are no longer, they're now persona non grata, or I suppose movie non grata, because of the actions of certain people involved in them. But I'm passing them on to charity. I'm not going to just chuck them away because, you know, somebody else who still adheres to those particular, you know, fandoms and so on, can make use of them. Because, you know, I know my personal distaste isn't the same as everybody's personal distaste. It's an interesting one. I'm not, you know, going to judge other people for buying the fabric, but it's, again, not my personal choice. And yeah, I hope somebody else can make good use of what I've put in there. But yeah, it's all down to personal taste at the end of the day, isn't it? But I mean, someone was like, oh, you should sell them, you should sell them. So I would, but then I'd be profiting off somebody that I disagree with, so I'd rather put them into the charity shop and let the charity have income from something that might sell, that we don't, you know, that we don't personally have a taste for here anymore. But yeah, that's just the way it is, isn't it? Again, I'm getting on my soapbox, aren't I? Sorry guys. I'm going to be having a go at sort of other crafty projects, so I'm doing some crafting and bits and pieces behind the scenes. What I'm planning on doing is, when I do the tie-dye and stuff, I'm planning on using whatever I make to make things out of. Making tote bags and table runners and things like that, and try and sell those online, because I want to start being a bit more proactive when it comes to making money from the things that I make. As I may have mentioned, I am not a rich person, by any stretch of the imagination. I'm doing better than some people, but I'm, still not as secure in my income as I would like to be. Gosh, that sounds so hoity-toity in some ways, isn't it? Sorry guys, but yeah, no, I think it's time for me to start putting money aside, or making money from the things that I make, because I need to make more money so that I can do this full time, which is, as I've mentioned before, definitely my goal at the end of the day. I would like to become a full-time YouTuber and a full-time fabric crafter. That would be absolutely lovely. But as well as that side of things, as well as, making tote bags and so on, I want to make some things for myself. So I would like to make myself a shirt or something of that nature. Something sort of semi-smart, but more in my style of decoration. Right, so where am I? I've got that onto there, that's fine. So you can see that bends back like that. So now I need to do, oops-a-daisy, the same on the other side. So that one goes to, where am I? That one goes to there, and that one goes to there. So you can see how it's laid out. So it's going to be that kind of stitch. Now, again, I point out that I'm doing this with Sashiko stitches from Susan Briscoe's Ultimate Sashiko book, Ultimate Sashiko Sourcebook, but also I'm doing this with some guidance from the Green Wrappers videos. And about a year ago, they made this pattern into a pin cushion. So this is kind of what I'm going for here. So two squares here. So it's all 2 squares to turn into the design, and I'm going to squiddle this around, and then oops-a-daisy, start pinning my things in place. So if I turn that way, I should remember which way it goes around. We shall see. So I'm going to squish that over there for a moment, find the corner there. That's the corner that I did with the pink heat erasable pen, and then I'm going to turn it over, keeping it in the same alignment, and put that one in there. Ouch, straight into my finger, and that can hold that there for a moment. And then with this one, I'm going to find the corner, oops, there, and then, now then, where's that going to go? That's going to go to there. That's the other corner there. Let's see if that fits. And I've done them both going in the opposite direction, so that's going to be helpful. Oopsie. So if I bring that up and stitch it back to there, I know where that pin goes in is the right place, and I'm going to pass this through here and just go back in the opposite direction. So find the corner there and put it through the corner there, like that. And that's nice and straight. Yeah, excuse the bottling up on my thumb. I caught my thumb on something when I was doing some work yesterday, so it's not very pretty at the moment. Not that it's ever pretty, but you know, it's just extra not pretty at the moment. So, get my straight edge, put it between the two pins there, and I can see, oops, hold on, I'll move that up for you so you can see. So I'm going to put this between the two pins there, so it goes to the base where the pins go in, and you can see it lines up with this line here, so I know that's in the right place. And then I'm just going to do a quick line through there. Move that out of the way. Get myself another pin. Do that when that's nice and flat. Put the pin through there and pass it through there. Okay. And I've got this Gutermann polyester thread here. It's extra strong, so it should be nice and firm. And I am going to double it up just to make it sort of belt and braces type approach. And I am using my needle threader because my eyes are still not very good. I finally went for my eye test last week, and I have an astigmatism in my right eye. And my right eye is very, very tired at the moment. My left eye seems to be doing absolutely no work whatsoever. So maybe I should start wearing like a pirate's eye patch or something to get my left eye to do some more work. Give my right eye a bit of a break. Wouldn't that be funny? It's not ideal though, because I need both my eyes for depth perception, so definitely don't do that whilst I'm driving, but yeah, they've changed the prescription on my glasses again, and then I found out that the glasses that I'd bought for close work, for reading work, was actually not the correct prescription. So I'm doing well. So they'd made it so that I had to have my book or whatever I'm working about that far from my eyes, and that's not arm's length, is it? That you need to have a much longer length from my eyes to actually be able to see. I did ask about maybe claiming some money back from that, because, you know, it's not me who made the mistake, I'm not the optician, but unfortunately, no, they said no. Oh well, at least hopefully that will help with my vision, and also help with my migraines, which is kind of the main thing that I'm concerning myself with at the moment. It would be very nice to think that maybe the migraines would one day be a thing of the past, because I really, really want to get on with stuff. Isn't it always the way though, that the one thing that you want to do, you can't do because your body's going, no. Maybe that's just me, I don't know. Anyway, so I haven't asked yet, how are you guys doing this week? Are you having a good week? It's another week of craziness, much of which I'm not even going to mention, because no, no thank you. But yeah, so I mean, I'm planning on making some bits and pieces for myself. I'm getting my ideas together for that one. I want to make something that's sort of patchworky, but high-end patchworky. I don't know quite how to describe it, but I want to make something that I can wear to work and not look unprofessional. I also want to make something that suits me better, because quite a lot of the time I buy things just because they fit. Again, I am not wealthy, so I don't go out and buy clothes all the time, but I want to make something that's just for me. But we shall see. But yeah, and oh yeah, if you're wondering, guys, yeah, this is going to be my my needle case, my needle cushion, because I'm going to fill this with some walnut shells like this, and put my needles in there. And walnut shells are very, very good for sharpening your needles, so you can sharpen your pins as well. I mean, considering the number of times I've stabbed myself with a pin or a needle, maybe having sharper needles isn't the best idea, but at the same time, I want it because it would make sewing easier. And again, I've stopped wearing my palm thimble. Let's put that, my leather thimble. Let's put that on. and we shall see how we go. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing some more tie-dye and some more shibori and some bits and pieces like that. I'm thinking of turning them into shorts. So like short videos for YouTube and for Instagram and places like that. But I'm also wondering about doing some marbling and other bits and pieces for shorts and things, because I think that'd be nice. At the moment I'm doing pattern designs, and I really do enjoy doing them, but I don't always know if they're starting to get samey, so maybe I should start thinking about rescheduling how I do things. So rather than doing a pattern every day, do 5 patterns and then 2 bits of fabric dye a week, and intersperse it like that, because then, I mean, I on my my regular videos like this one, I do stitching and stitch adjacent things, and you know, making things type processes. But I'm thinking that maybe I can start mixing that in with the shorts as well, so you get a flavour of both things in both sides of the channel. It's one of those things. Do you guys like shorts? And if you're a YouTuber or a YouTube maker yourself, do you like making shorts? Is that really your big thing? I like what I do on shorts, but I don't like the fact that they almost seem to be like throwaway projects. I do take them seriously. I take them very seriously. I'm trying to learn about pattern making as I'm drawing and making patterns. But at the same time, I want to do something that's a bit more in depth, a bit more complicated, I suppose. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I did used to do like paint pour pictures, like doing 5 of those and on the weekend, and then posting them up on shorts over the course of the week. But I kind of got bored of making them, and I wound up having lots and lots of paint pour pictures that I don't have space to display and I couldn't sell. So, you know, it's an interesting one. It's constantly, you know, trying to learn and develop, not just in my craft practice, but also in my YouTube practice. As I say, I would like to make this my full-time job, but I'm not going to start creating videos that I wouldn't want to watch, if you know what I mean. I want to create videos that are respectful to the craft, respectful to the crafting community, and don't, you know, turn whatever we make into gimmicks. And I know that there's a lot of folks out there who are doing very, very gimmicky videos, some of which are craft, some of which are for other things, but it kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth when you think, oh, well, we've spent years, decades, centuries trying to elevate the status of crafting, and point out that actually the people who are doing the creating are, you know, very skilled, very able, very respect-worthy folk, and then we're making videos of people mucking around with crafts as if that is what craft is. It's I suppose it's fun for 5 minutes, but it's like bubble gum. The more you chew it, the less flavour you get. It's an interesting one. I don't know. I'm just thinking aloud. But I want to do things that, you know, I have not necessarily respectful, but that I feel proud enough of, that it doesn't wind up leaving me feeling like I've sold out in some ways, I suppose. But again, you know, that's no derision to people who do, you know, make more idiosyncratic videos. Some people do trade on particular character, particular representations, particular sort of personal presentation, and it works for them. and they can do that whilst maintaining the respect for what they do, whereas others maybe not so much. But again, personal taste and all that. And again, maybe I think that those kinds of videos, the ones where it's all I sort of say to squinks when they're watching videos like that, it's like it's mostly people just screaming and making lots of noise for no real reason. And I kind of don't like that. I don't want people to be screaming at me all the time. I want people to be making things that they enjoy and making things that, you know, aren't throwaway, aren't disposable. I mean, again, I suppose this comes back to the idea of disposable objects. I'm going to make objects that aren't throwaway, and I'm going to make videos that aren't throwaway, and things that, you know, you can come back to and have some engagement with, I suppose. Right, I'm going to just tie this one off as well. So let's lose the twist on that one. But yeah, it's an interesting one. But then again, like I say, maybe I'm not the audience for those kinds of videos. Personal taste and all that at the end of the day, and personal taste, as I keep saying, counts for a lot in this life. Anyway, I'm on my soapbox again. I do tend to start preaching, don't I? I'm very sorry, guys. It's a terrible bad habit, but yeah, I want real people rather than screamy, eye-catching folks. I don't know. There we go. So that goes like that. I'm going to start pinning that together. I'm probably going to be finishing most of this off screen. This is the complicated bit that I'm going to have to work my head around, because it's going to be fun. So if I go to this corner here and I find the actual corner, the centre line sort of speaks for itself, and then I can find the centre line there, which I believe is that one there. Is that right? I think that might be a bit further up. Just get my little measury thing out. So it's there. I'll turn that around so you can see it a bit better. So, like that. Put this line across to there. I believe the centre line is there. So, if I can get another pin, I can put that through the same hole, push that one out of the way, and that's me sorted. That's the centre line there. And then I can bring this over. I'm going to start with this line here. Sorry about the scrappy noises. This is a very noisy tray to work on. I'm going to put that one through there, and then that one through, where's my centre line there? I think it's, I'll bring this one over. Oops. There, and then the centre line is, oopsie-daisy, bring that over there. Is that right? That's lying nice and flat, so I think it is. So I'm going to turn this over. Bring the pin back a little bit and put it through there, and do the same on this end here. Bring it back a bit, put my pin through there, and just see if this centre lines up. That's lining up pretty good. And if you notice, I'm letting this fall flat because I don't want the stitches to be straining when I'm stuffing it. So yeah. Okay, so we've got the centre line there. Is that going to go through? Yep. Let's try and get that to line up with that one. There we go. So I'm going to have a bit of a thick line in the centre there, but that's fine. I can work around it. So let's get you back into... yeah, there we go. So I need to go to daisy. See if I can get that through there. Is that right? Yep, that's right. And I can go back in to... Oops. There, so I've got them lining up on both sides. And bring that back over here. And find the centres on both sides here now. So that goes through there and comes out there-ish. Actually, I'm going to draw that line again because that does make it a lot easier to find out where my centres are. So I can line that up against the square there. And this is hand stitched, so it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be like a machine stitching, so you know. And these little loops here, I can just push those back in and work around them because those are keeping the Sashiko from pulling itself too tight. So you don't distort the pattern that way. I'm definitely going to have to finish this one off screen. So I will, oops daisy, stitch along here off screen. So that goes to there. And I will start stitching that in a moment. But I'll be doing most of it off screen. So yep, there we go. So let's just put a pin through. Oops, it's going to go through. Pin through there. I do prefer using clips, like quilting clips, but when it comes to this type of thing and trying to line things up and keep them in the same place, pins work better, I think. Okay, and that goes through daisy to there. Again, it's not going to be absolutely pin sharp. This is quite a thick denim, so there is a little bit of wiggle room needed. So yeah, but then that's just going to be stitched along there, and I will share a picture of that at the end of the video. So ow, ow, ow. So yep, just make sure that you keep an eye out for that one. Just stab myself again, yeah. I will get to finishing this one off next week, and hopefully I'll be getting to stuff it next week as well. So keep your eye out for that at the end of the video, and yeah, I will be getting back to my white work next week. And yeah, let me know what you think of this all down in the comments below. Let me know what you think of my Sashiko design, and what do you think it's going to turn out like. And like I said, if you've been to the Creative Craft Show, let me know down in the comments what was your favourite bit. What things do you think I should have visited? What kind of things do you think I should have picked up whilst I was there? And yeah, I look forward to reading your comments. And whilst you're down there, please remember to like and subscribe and all those lovely little things that help a channel like mine to grow, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. So thank you very much again for watching, and bye bye.